Uh, you know, I was checking my Facebook news feed. You get people who share things, and so I got this from Daily Mail online. This guy who acted in Star Wars, John Boyega. Okay, to be honest with you, Star Wars being my favorite franchise, when they rebooted it after George Lucas, even though the George Lucas made his own version of the Star Wars, I didn't mind that. I liked that. Okay, many people didn't like. But after Disney purchased it, they completely ruined it. They completely ruined it. I seriously see this glass piece. I seriously hated it. I seriously hated the new Star Wars by Disney. They tried to bring young people in it, and okay, the female lead was okay, but they tried to make it a bit woke, female power. Okay, that also I didn't mind. The villain, ah, it was terrible. I still remember, when this guy took off the mask, I was expecting something really big. And then I see this young boy with a big nose. He has a very big nose, actually. I, I just looked at it. I was like, okay, this must be a joke, or this must be like part of the story where they'll show the real person. So when they showed this guy, I don't know his name also. He may be a good actor, but for me, he was like, okay, whatever. You have the universe's most powerful villain, a boy. I was like, okay, whatever. And then, like you had Han Solo, you had John Boyega at the side. There was another guy also who acted like a Han Solo. He was the main villain in X-Men. That god. He was also okay. I kind of like that guy more. But John Boyega, I was not a big fan of his, man. He looked like a chubby guy and chubby. It's not that because he's black or something. I do love black actors. Some of them, like even Eddie Murphy, even though he's a comedian, I loved his action movies of the 80s. I definitely liked Leslie Snipes. I love this guy. What's his name? Idris Elba. Oh, class apart. Class apart. If you ask me, I would see him as a James Bond. Okay, so John Boyega is not a very big fan of his. I was like, whatever. Okay, fine. And then, to my utter shock and disappointment, this guy gets in Pacific Rim Part 2, he gets cast. Part 2 or Part 3? I think Part 2, 3. Along with my favorite director, Gultoro. I hope I'm very bad at names. El Toro, Gultoro, whatever. I was so disappointed when he was not there. He's the guy who directed Hellboy. He's an amazing visionary. If you see any of his movies, any and every of his movies, a masterpiece, a cinematic masterpiece. Especially that movie where he shoots about Nazis and that small girl. That name also I can't get. Oh, what the hell, man. Maybe because I went to the gym. That Enchanted Tale. He's great. All his movies, let me tell you, all his movies. The Pan's Labyrinth. And even there's one Girl in the Water or something. I love his movies, man. And he's a class director. So when he was not there, I was very disappointed. So now they cast this John Boyega with these other actors, young, all kids, in this Pacific Rim Part 2, I think. And they ruined it, man. They ruined it terribly. And John Boyega, he was a lead actor. I was like, are you bloody kidding me? They just wanted to capitalize on the success of Star Wars. I think the first part or second part. It was a terrible, absolutely terrible choice. So the point I'm trying to tell you is, I was never a fan of this guy. I don't think he has the looks, the personality, the charisma online. Like if you compare him to Idris Elba. Okay. So why am I bringing this up? John Boyega, he stated in Daily Mail Online that James Bond will never be played by a black actor. Okay. So now, see, there are a couple of things here. Okay, there are a couple of things to understand. James Bond has always been a white British male. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have a black British male, or however, you need to stick to the format. Now, let's assume just for the color of the skin, you make, okay, let's have a black British actor. Fine. I mean, then where does it stop? You'll have a female British actor. Then you'll say, no, we need to have a black female British actor. Then the transgender community, 100% will jump in and say, why don't you have a transgender? In fact, the comment I put below this post, I said, why don't you have, I said, John Boyega is right, sarcastically. Why don't you should have a transgender, non-binary, lesbian, non-English person, an Indian, to play Indian who speaks also Hindi, to play James Bond. So now we are showing diversity, right? Lesbian also, transgender also, Indian also, Hindi speaking also. Where does it stop? Tell me, where does it stop? In fact, I think a good example I read somewhere. Why, if we are so interested in diversity, why don't we have a white person play Nelson Mandela? Why don't we have that? And for the sake of diversity, why don't you have a transgender white, female who became male, play Gandhi? Why? They did that with Queen Elizabeth and they cast a black lady, right? I'll tell you what the problem is here. Now, this is not me being, oh, I'm racist, oh, racism, this and that. No, you're making petty, trivial issues, or rather, you're making a non-issue an issue because you're bloody jobless. John Boyega, okay, maybe John Boyega was taken out of context. Let's assume that. But what sense does it make saying, oh, black actor should play James Bond? Then where do we stop? Do we say that an Indian should play James Bond, Chinese should play James Bond, transgender, lesbian, homosexual? They made Superman, bisexual. They made Spider-Man in the cartoon animated dark guy, a black guy. I mean, where do we stop? Then why don't you have inclusion of tattooed people also? A tattooed James Bond. I feel discriminated. What is all this discrimination bullshit? Where do you draw the line, man? Seriously, where do you draw the line? Then Africans can come and say, oh, you're racist towards us. We need to play George Bush. A black person can play George Bush. Or Ronald Reagan. Or Winston Churchill can be a guy from the Zulu tribe of Africa. You know? I think the problem is today people are jobless. And when you give mindless individuals, people with no brains, a platform to voice their opinion, you'll obviously get only nonsense and shit. And this is exactly what is happening. You're getting all garbage, utter garbage, being put forth as an opinion. And instead of it being dismissed, it's being encouraged. And then everyone jumps in, oh, yeah. You know, in real life, such idiots are hardly looked upon. But when they come on social media, obviously, we live in a world where, let's say, for example, 10% are idiots. 10% of, 6 billion is a huge amount, right? 600 billion people. So imagine if 600 million people all endorse your view. You'll feel you're great, right? What is happening with this uh, dirt of characters like Lizzie and Kim Kardashian showing their bum, showing their boobs, showing their openings? And why do you think OnlyFans has become so cool? Wow, she's earning so much money there. Oh, having sugar daddies, it's looked highly upon. This is really stupid. John Boyega doesn't have the. Think of the olden days. Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, even what's his name? Portier. Portier. Forget that. The latest actor, Denzel Washington. Wow. Tell me, isn't Denzel Washington doesn't he have an amazing personality? And I told you, even Idris Elba. Wow. It's sad that today we are getting pansy. I would say pansy characters as big role models instead of having the real people with real personality. Once upon a time, there was this class and there was this elegance to it. Today it's become like they say, a shit show, absolute shit show. Anyway, this is what I wanted to tell you. I find this, I don't know, not repulsive. I find this comedic, sadly comedic. Instead of it being something amazing, it's just being absolute crap. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And by the way, John Boyega, I don't know if he has any worthwhile hits to talk about. He just got lucky to be in Star Wars and now he thinks he's some big legendary this thing. You got lucky with Star Wars. Let's see you come out with something worthwhile. Yeah, by the way, great actor Samuel L. Jackson. How can I forget that? Even this guy who acted in Matrix, Fishburne. These are amazing actors, man. Come on, black actors. You can cast any of. There's so much of talent out there, but they only pick up garbage. And then, oh, black actor cannot. Why don't we start having? Just imagine if they have a white guy play an Indian, there's a furore. But it's okay to have a black guy, right? Just because there are some areas where you can make an issue. You start demanding, I need this. Tomorrow, what? You'll have a black guy play Chinese, a Chinese guy play black guy. When you're at Tropic Thunder, Robert Downey Jr., put a black thing. Oh, it's a black face. It's very bad. Then when you have black guys paint themselves white, shouldn't that be offensive? Grow the fuck up, man. It's a bloody movie. People are stupid. I don't take it personally if anyone acts. You want to act Indian, or you want to act Pakistani, you want to act whatever. Or you put fake tattoos also. It's cool. I mean, if we follow that logic, then shouldn't a gangster play the role of a gangster? Shouldn't a lesbian play the role of a lesbian? Shouldn't a father play the role of a father? Where do we stop? Then where does it become acting? Or then a person who's paralyzed only should play someone who's paralyzed. And a person who's dead only should play someone who's dead. Isn't it? Logic, right? Stupidity personified. Live in stupid times, I'll tell you that. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Good, bad, ugly. Love to hear from you. Take care.
Are you fed up of life? Earning a pathetic salary, working long hours, having an ungrateful boss, facing office politics, the constant fear of losing your job, and after paying rent, groceries, shopping, and children's expenses, you were left with hardly any savings. Is this the life you dreamed of? Or do you wish to change your life forever? Meet Machedo, the world's #1 personal branding coach. He will help you identify the real you. Position and sell yourself by getting the job of your dreams and make good money anywhere in the world. If you do not believe me, Google his name, Machedo, and you will find 2 million web links online and over 200 recommendations from very happy clients. So the question is, do you want to change your life? If yes, then contact Loy Machedo. www.loymachedo.com. Who is loymachedo.com? Thinkpersonalbranding.com. What are you waiting for? Do it now.